Good morning and welcome to episode 420 of the show. Today, I'd like us to riff about what to do with customer feedback because it's something we've spoken about a lot on the podcast, especially from a sales perspective. That when we get customer feedback, we're getting all the intel that we need that tells us what our unique service proposition is. That is where the customer tells us that we're doing this and this and this right. We now know that that's what's supposed to double down on. So that's one of the benefits, and it makes selling and marketing easier because you know which aspect of your messaging to emphasize. Now, the other side of the coin is sometimes the customers are going to tell us things that we have done wrong, things we failed at, or things that we can improve upon. Now, when we get that kind of intel, it tells us exactly what it is that we need to fix, and then it helps to make our product or our service offering better. And that is one aspect of using feedback that I'd like to drill in on today. Now, the reason why that has come up is because I used to use they're not an old internet service provider. They're new in the grand scheme of things in Nigeria anyway, and they're called Spectranet. So I've been using them back from when I was in Lagos, maybe about 10 years ago, and eventually when I moved to Abuja, I still continued using them, and of course I would keep talking non-stop about them to my friends, family members, and that's because at the time they offered real stellar service. When they started, I think they rolled out in Ikeja first. They weren't all over Lagos, so Ikeja on the mainland, and I think they rolled out to the rest of Lagos, and I think where next? Abuja and some other urban centers. So they were not in places like Benue State. Benue is where I'm from. For those of you who've been listening for a while, you know that I'm a Tiv guy. So Benue, that's where I'm from. So Benue, Nasarawa, those areas were not covered. So lack of national coverage. But for me, the service was spectacular. It was really fast download speeds at the time. And I liked their unlimited package. And so basically for a very long time, for years, I just bought whatever the unlimited package was. At the time I stopped doing business with them, I stopped using their service. I think unlimited was about 15 grand or maybe 17 grand a month, and I used to pay that religiously because it just kind of made sense. I use the internet a lot for creating, researching, distributing content. My wife uses the internet a lot for the research that she needs to do, and then she has these cute little shows that she likes to watch. Like currently she's binging Love Island. So if you like those sorts of things, Love Island, this Gordon Ramsay show, what else, those sorts of things, then you have a friend in my wife, let's put it that way. You guys have similar interests. So and then of course there's also YouTube for the kids. Well, not YouTube, more like all those educational shows on Netflix, like Storybots and all those documentaries. So the internet is a big thing for me, and so I just got on their unlimited package, and then I was with them for loads and loads and loads of lots of years. But now I got into this problem. The problem is sometimes I have to be out on the field. So let's say I'm doing corporate work, NGO work. For those kinds of clients, I like to make the deliverables same day. In other words, if the program starts at 9 and finishes by 3, I would like to be able to have the photos up on an online download link maybe by 6 p.m., worst case scenario. So I'd have to take the internet with me. Now, of course, if I take the internet router with me, then it means that Wi-Fi and the kids don't have internet at home. So I spoke to the guys about it at Spectranet, because at the time, other service providers had shared internet packages where you don't have to be tied to the router, because you can just share data with the line number, and then people will be able to get the data on their mobile device. And they didn't have that offering at the time. It's something that I told them in customer service, and after that, I left. Now, this conversation with them was maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I'd have to check text messages to be sure. So I told them what the problem was. So customer care, they definitely have my information. So right now, I currently use Globacom, and it's not the best, but at least it allows for data sharing, and Globacom is okay. And so for me, that's the chief benefit. So I can be out on the field, and it's not a problem. Just like the time when I had a gig in Nasarawa State. I was in Nasarawa State. The router was at home, And it was not a problem. I was in the field in Nasarawa State, and I had the data that I needed because I would just hotspot from my Glow line, and and that was fine. And of course, if my wife had the router, but she took it because she had to leave somewhere, and the kids were home with grandma, they would also have internet because their devices were also linked. So for me, that was the key thing why I switched. Now, the troubling thing or the sad thing is that I still keep getting calls every once in a while from SpectraNet customer service people. And each time I tell them the same thing. I was with you guys, it was fantastic. This is the reason why I left data sharing. And I keep having this conversation with them every single year. Somebody calls, another person calls, another person calls, then they send a text message, and then there's the email, and then this keeps going on and on and on and on and on. Now, it is a poor use of your salespeople and your customer service people's time if you're going to be getting intel from all these conversations and you don't store it in one repository so that everybody can see, and if you do not use that information to improve your product or your service offering. So if there are people like me in Nigeria who are saying, SpectraNet, we love you, but the reason why we're not doing business with you is because you guys don't have a data sharing package, then it doesn't make sense to keep calling those people back every couple of months, every year, for 5 years straight, even though they keep telling you exactly what the problem is. There should be some central hub in SpectraNet land, SpectraNet offices, where that information is, so that you know that before you pick up the phone to call, you can see that Tabashima Ayede, the reason why he stopped was because of data sharing packages, and then there are maybe a couple of hundred other people there. There's no point in calling those people back unless you're calling to now say, hey, the last time we spoke, you said this is the reason why you left. Now we have plugged that loophole and we now have data sharing packages. If you still love us, would you be willing to try us out again to see our new data packages that we have, data sharing packages that we are rolling out? That should be the point of the conversation if you're reaching out to folks, loyal customers like I was, because I was doing this every single month for the maybe 4 or 5 years that I was with them. So, so basically, you guys, everyone should have a CRM. That is a customer relationship management tool. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. It's just that place, that repository where you have all the details about who is your client, what's the extent of the relationship, what else? What are the next steps that you need to take with them? Things like that. That's basically where you just throw in all the data that you have on the clients. So in this case, in the CRM, there should be a file there with my name saying Tabashima Ayede or saying customer 100456 or whatever it is, and then all the details should be there, and also the reason why it is that I left. And so if you are using customer service, your customer service processes properly, using it as a feedback tool, you should be able to get some research after a couple of years that can help to improve your product offering and your service. So in this case, in SpectraNet, you'll be able to say that, okay, we used to have 5 million customers, but then 2 million people left. Out of those 2 million, 50% said they left because of this, 20% left because of this, 10% left because of this, 5% left because of this. And it gives you a sense of where it is that you can take the business, because you now know which problems it is that you ought to solve. So that is the proper way that you ought to be using your customer service processes and feedback to improve your businesses. First of all, you need to have a CRM or some repository where you store all the information, and that is going to give you all the data that you need to be able to chart the next course in the business. So I'll just wrap it up here because the baby is here looking for my attention. So let me run. It's going to be a long weekend, so I'm going to be here with the chilling with the fam. So enjoy your holidays. I hope you guys have gotten value out of this episode. Thanks for your time and attention. I'll catch you guys at the next recording. So please make sure you have one common repository where you're keeping all the data that you get from your customers. Use that data, use that information to figure out how you're going to fix the business, the new products and packages or services that you need to roll out. And yes, even if you are a wedding and event provider, the thought process is still the same. So photographers, wedding planners, make sure you have your CRM. Make sure you have that thing that you're tracking all the data and interactions with your customers, because it's going to be a treasure trove of information that you will use to build your business in the future. So thanks for your time and attention. I'll catch you guys at the next recording.